LBL, is he really going to invoke the Insurrection Act? Are there plans? Is there a true threat of this happening?
I think there are definitely plans. And again, I know I keep saying this, but this is something that has been on the president's mind since his first term. It's something that Stephen Miller has threatened as well. That's his deputy chief of staff who has been with the president since the first term. It's something that Vice President J.D. Vance has also hinted at as recently as last fall. And you're seeing the administration and other officials across the administration continue to talk about this. Just recently, the deputy AG, Todd Blanche, saying it in response to what's going on in Minneapolis, calling it an insurrection. And the president has made very clear that he believes that he can do this. He has said that he has a right to do whatever he wants to do when it comes to the Insurrection Act. And this would allow him to deploy military, which he has talked about in terms very fondly of being able to deploy the military into American cities to quell any kind of protest that he appears as opposing his administration. So I think, look, yes, the president has threatened it for a very long time, and he has not necessarily done it. But if there was any point he was going to do it, it looks like it would be right now, Katie.
All right. So, Sarah, we've been talking for a week now in the aftermath of the shooting of Renee Good, and we continue to see some pretty violent confrontations between ICE and Border Patrol and either demonstrators or detainees. What's going on here? The other day, somebody told me that this is not necessarily how ICE had operated in the past, that they've become there's been the Border Patrolification of ICE agents, that the actions of how the Border Patrol behaves on the border, what the Border Patrol needs to patrol the border, have been taken into the interior.
Well, I'd be hard-pressed to identify for you who all these law enforcement officers are. I don't know that they're all ERO, enforcement and removal officers from ICE. They could be from Border Patrol, CBP. At one point, I think they even dragged some FBI agents into ICE enforcement operations, which is part of the problem. People, the persons on the street or in these operations need to be persons who are trained in apprehensions and also with respect to I'm getting caught up in this video that you're showing.
Yeah, it just says police on their vests. What is that? I know there was an ERO, but what does police mean?
Exactly. Yes, well, that could be anybody, couldn't it? I don't know that part. I do know this. I am increasingly yeah, there you go. Federal agent on another, so who knows? Here is the rub. There is a legitimate function that ICE has got to carry out. It's statutory. It's been funded, and ICE is not going to be abolished. You may change its name, but that mission of ICE is critical. Okay, let's not forget there were visa overstays that attacked our country on September 11th. So it's an important mission, both domestically and with respect to national security. But the problem is all of that, what we've been seeing by the law enforcement that's on the ground, really goes against the basic tenets of proper policing and working with the community in trying to get a situation resolved. I am gratified, so gratified, by hearing the mayor speak to the protesters and try to calm the waters there. That's an important thing. But I wish that we could have the administration direct the Department of Homeland Security to rein in some of these tactics that are just aggravating the community. The problem I see is that the president himself speaks about enforcement as a blue and red thing. That is, I think we're going to send out all these agents to blue states because they didn't vote for me. I mean, I think I've even heard him say, I like Michigan because they voted for me. I don't like this place because they didn't vote for me. And so you have the American citizen expects fairness in its enforcement, whatever police enforcement actions are. And here you get the sense that this is being selective. Florida and Texas have the most immigrants, along with California, in the country. I'm in Texas. I'm not inviting ICE to come in mass to my state, but I am concerned that it begins to look more like retribution and anger as opposed to legitimate law enforcement efforts that secure public safety.
Such a good point.
And that's concerning.
You made a ton of really good points there. And the one that I want to pick up on for you, Paul, is this national security issue. She makes the point that ICE was created in the aftermath of 9/11. There were visa overstays. They do serve an important national security function. They do serve a function. There is a reason for them to exist. In using ICE in this way, the way the administration has done so, militarizing them and unleashing them and encouraging maybe even them to be as aggressive as they've been, it's shown that the American public, it's showing the American public a side of this agency they don't like even further. The polling for ICE is down at levels that we haven't seen in a while. We can put up the polling right now. The American public does not like ICE. Are you, by putting ICE in this position, harming national security because they can't effectively do the jobs that they were initially intended to do?
Yes, it's all harming our national security. I don't know if we've ever been less safe, less stable, less trusted. This is a circuit breaker moment for America. The Insurrection Act is something he's threatened for a long time. I've been calling it out. I've been warning people that he's serious about it. People said I was being alarmist. It is here. He has said he wants to use it. He is floating it. His press secretary is now putting it out there. They have been given plans from Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard. They know exactly how to implement it, and they've been waiting and moving toward and instigating the moment. And now Minneapolis is ground zero. Minneapolis is the front line for the soul of our democracy. And if he tries to invoke the Insurrection Act, he is crossing a line that is the most dangerous line he's crossed before. We have to hold the line as Americans. We have to say, hell no. We can't have him putting federal troops into Minneapolis or into Chicago or anywhere else. This is how the rest of the country starts to look like Minneapolis. And we will all be less safe, and our enemies will be celebrating. This is very real, very front and center. He can do anything he wants with the most powerful military the world has ever seen. That includes putting them on the streets under the Insurrection Act, and every American should say no.
Yeah, one of the things I can't get out of my head, Molly, is the video that J.D. Vance posted of the ICE agent who shot Renee Nicole Good. And he posted it to prove that the ICE agent was in harm's way and the ICE agent was acting correctly, and that Renee Nicole Good was a domestic terrorist. She was in the wrong. And there are two moments in that video that really stand out to me. It's what she says right here, dude, I'm not mad. And then he goes around the car, he shoots her. And then right after that, what you hear, and maybe it's from him, maybe it's from somebody standing next to him, I don't think it's certainly from a protester or her wife, is effing B. And I just cannot get out of my head that the administration would put that out and believe that it makes them look better. That somebody, an ICE agent or some other agent, would call a woman, an American citizen who's just been shot in the face 3 times, call her a name like that.
You know, when you see the picture of the bloody airbag and the glove compartment filled with stuffed animals, she had just dropped her 6-year-old son off at school. This is a 37-year-old mother who got shot in the face 3 times. And our vice president is not out there going, well, mistakes were made. He's out there saying she was a domestic terrorist. I think that when you live in a world that is so online, and when you have people who tell you everything you're thinking is brilliant, you may end up stumbling into an 80-20 issue on the wrong side of it. And I really do think, and I'm not, that shooting a woman in the face 3 times after she just dropped her son off at school, even if, there's just, guilty, innocent, our law enforcement are not supposed to kill people. And this is a fundamental due process issue. This is a fundamental right to safety. I mean, I don't think this is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I don't think this is a winner for this administration. And we see, and by the way, this is a story that's broken through. I mean, there was a Quinnipiac polling today or yesterday, 82% of people have seen that video.
Yeah, it's a lot of folks. It's a lot of folks. And it's one of those situations where you get into such an angry, a defensive mode. People do, and they start, blindly towing the line of their side. And what gets lost is there are law enforcement functions that are necessary in this country, and there are law enforcement officers who are trying to do their best and are doing a good job. And there are law enforcement officers who have their own families that they want to get back to and are scared, and rightly so. There's a lot here. And there are protesters who have a right to protest, and there are people that don't feel comfortable with what they're seeing on their streets and they want to say something. All of us have that right in this country. To get home safely to our kids and to speak out when we feel it's necessary and to protect ourselves when we think it's necessary. That we all have that right. And when we get into these situations like this where everything is so hot and there's no compassion, there's no decency, especially with what happened to Nicole Goode, and especially posting a video where she's called a name after she's shot in the head. It makes you wonder, where we're going and what else is going to get lost in this ugly mix. LBL, Molly Jong-Fast, Sarah Saldana, Paul Rieckhoff, everybody, thank you. I appreciate you joining us to start the day off today.